And the end, it's within his grasp. It's so close. He can almost taste it. Taste the victory so he doesn't have to taste deliciousness in his meals all the time. Coach Greg, and today a full day of eating by none other than Chris Bumstead, who's currently eating 1,600 calories. You heard that right. It's not a typo. He's eating 1,600 calories. And listen, if you're looking for a diet to follow, this ain't it. We're going to go over his diet, see what exactly he's eating. We're going to discover why you shouldn't do it. But do understand, this is Chris Bumstead, the Mr. Freaking Olympia. He's the champion, the best in the world. He has to follow this diet for a short period of time, about 2 weeks, in order to win the Olympia.
This isn't something I suggest anyone tries ever because it sucks and it's not healthy.
And props to Chris for telling the people this is not the sustainable diet to do. This doesn't make sense for you to do. It's what I'm doing. Don't try this at home.
If you're in your last few weeks of competing and you don't feel great, probably because you're not dieting hard enough. And this is one of the things where this is strict to bodybuilding. I'm trying to win the Olympia.
So Chris, he's not just trying to get in shape. He's trying to win the Olympia. He's dieting to unrealistically low body fat levels that are not healthy. And in bodybuilding, if you actually feel good, you feel normal, you feel healthy, you're doing it wrong. You cannot feel amazing the entire time you're on a bodybuilding contest prep diet until showtime. You can't. If you do, probably never dieted hard enough, probably weren't shredded. So whatever you do, do not send this video to Abby Sharp. She will lose her friggin' mind. Everything Chris is doing is not what the normal people should do.
So every single morning I start with a big glass of water, but I do 1 scoop of daily greens in there, and I do a scoop of glutamine. Put in a scoop of fiber.
Chris has cut his calories to such an extent that he's literally adding fiber into his drinks to make up for his lack of vegetables. Now, clearly, Chris knows that eating a lot of vegetables and fruit, these are good things for your diet, but he's preparing for the Olympia, so he's literally lowered this.
Breakfast, the real food, is not very exciting at all. But I'm gonna spray this pan so it doesn't get shit stuck to it.
And as you can see, he doesn't use oil in the pan, he sprays it. Formerly, he would put oil and he guessed at it. He wasn't sure how to weigh it. I made a video on it, said, Chris, here's a tip. Put it on the scale, dump it out, and then you'll know exactly how much you're using. And lo and behold, he weighs the egg whites on the scale, pours them into the pan, reweighs it, and it says exactly how much he's pouring in. It's a simple and easy tip, but hey, if you didn't know it and you just learned it right now, that could help you in your diet. And Chris knows the importance of hydration. He's drinking a big glass of water for breakfast combined with a protein shake made with ice to make it thicker, more satiating, and he's putting egg whites in the pan and 1 whole egg. He's putting in the whole eggs for some vitamins and some fats. You do need some fat in your diet, so don't cut it all out. And lo and behold, Chris has a Ninja blender, although a small one. Gone are the days when he's using an old beat-up blender in the garage, making more freaking noise than last time.
Today's gonna be the first day that I put the Sebum Cinnamon Crunch cereal protein in my oats, and we're gonna see how they taste in oats.
And meal 2, his favorite meal of the day, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But not the cereal. Imagine if Chris was eating the cereal. Cereal has been cut out, but guess what? He has a flavor protein Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and it just goes to show, even Chris, a week out from the Olympia, he's still eating protein powder. You think you have to eat whole foods. Everything has to be whole foods, organic. No, you just eat. Even the Mr. Olympia can eat protein powder flavored. It doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter.
Combine that with a half a cup, 45 grams of oatmeal, some vegetables, and some protein, and there you have it. Meal 2, his favorite meal of the day before he goes to work out.
That's good. It's like creamy. It's that like cereal taste. And because it's like creamy, it's a taste you don't get in prep very often.
And I can't speak for Chris, but I can speak for myself. When you're on a diet, you want your foods to taste good. And so he's eating something that tastes creamy, Cinnamon Toast Crunch mixed into his oatmeal. He's putting sugar-free ketchup on his egg whites. He's adding the little things that make a big difference into the satisfaction of your diet. Whether or not you're preparing for the Olympia or you just want to lose weight, don't forget it's important to not just like, but love your diet.
A random amount of zucchini, I got 200 grams of white fish, and then I have 100 grams of rice.
And meal 3, a tiny amount of rice, 100 grams. This Chris Bumstead, he's massive. A little bit of zucchini and 200 grams of white fish. Not a lot of food. He just went to the gym. But he has to starve himself. And in the end, it's within his grasp. It's so close. He can almost taste it. Taste the victory so he doesn't have to taste deliciousness in his meals all the time.
You know the trick. Shredded lettuce to get shredded.
He adds the shredded lettuce to the meal to make it bigger, more voluminous, low-calorie dense foods. It keeps him full, prevent him from binging, cheating on the diet. Just imagine what would happen if Chris couldn't stick to his diet, if he started to overeat. He couldn't control the cravings. It is paramount that when you're prepping for an Olympia show that you can stick to your diet. You have to do whatever it takes to make sure you stick to this diet. If you're not dieting for the Olympia and you just want to lose weight and you're hungry, add in some shredded lettuce. If you don't like lettuce, add something else. Vegetables, fruits, add something that's low in calories. It will fill you up and prevent you from binging or eating something else.
Add a little bit of lettuce. It's a nice little handful.
It's apparent to me that Chris has been hanging out with Will Tennyson. Did you hear him say that? Handful. Handful, Chris. How dare you?
The goat of prep. Yellow mustard.
So by adding very low-calorie condiments to your meals, you can get through the fact that the meals are pretty bland. They don't taste amazing. You can do that, or you can get my freaking cookbook. You know, low-calorie, delicious meals that taste amazing. It's not about being perfect. You don't need to follow a 1,600-calorie diet to lose weight. Chris does, but it's for a special purpose to win the Olympia. If you're just a regular person wanting to lose weight to stay in shape, consider getting the cookbook.
I'm losing my mind right now, and Kelvin's mic wasn't turned on. I'm losing my mind, and he's the one forgetting things. Unacceptable.
So Chris is clearly in a mess. His brain's hardly functioning. He's eating hardly any carbs. He has no energy, brain fog. And so the camera circles recording him and forgetting to press record, not getting the audio. And Chris is like, I'm the one that's in a mess. I'm in the garage flexing. I can hardly even pose because I'm so depleted. And so you hope other people can do the things they need to do. When you're dieting to this extent, your patience is almost zero. Very close to zero. People might say, oh, he's an asshole because he's on them there steroids. It has, of course, more to do with the fact that you're dieting to get unhealthy low body fat levels to the extremes of nothingness. Close 3 to 4% body fat. If you're hardly eating, your temper, it's hard to control. Chris doing a great job of it, but for most people, if you're starving yourself and you notice that your mood is a little out of whack, it's because you're not eating enough. Eat more. It's not worth dieting to this extent to ruin your marriage, relationships with friends, family, and so on. So if you notice you're becoming an asshole because of your diet, change your diet.
So I got like 100 grams of asparagus, 200 grams of fish, and like a handful, as usual, of shredded lettuce.
And meal 4, a white fish salad. Asparagus, white fish, handful of lettuce. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? Reminds me of Ronnie Coleman. Everyone want to be a bodybuilder, but nobody want to lift any heavy-ass weight. Well, Chris could have his own saying. Everyone wants to be a Savage Classic Physique Olympia champion, but no one wants to diet harder than last time.
And with this meal, I like to have some nice magnesium calm drinks. And magnesium can help you relax at night, but also helps you go to the bathroom.
Can't relate to Chris with not being able to go to the bathroom, even when I'm dieting as hard as I can for a bodybuilding show, starving myself, not having any energy. I'm still pooping 4 to 6 times a day. Although I am the king of fiber and my diet is way higher in vegetables than this, both off-season and in competition prep. I would estimate about 10 times more vegetables than what I see Chris eating here when I'm in contest prep, but I'm doing that to be full. I can't do it. I don't have the discipline that Chris does. And my diet was never this low. Even when I was a teenager dieting, it wasn't this low. Last prep, I ate 2,500 calories on a very low day, and I felt miserable. I felt like garbage. 1 or 2 weeks out from competition, just walking to the treadmill was hard, let alone getting on it. I felt miserable, so difficult to function.
So combining my last 2 meals right now, only because it's super late, but it's gonna be 100 grams of ground turkey, 280 grams of egg whites, and then 2 whole eggs.
So he's mixing up his last meal of the day. In the end, it doesn't actually matter what you're eating as long as you're in a calorie deficit. He can switch one thing for another, more of this, less of that. He has to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. So whether or not you have more of one macro and less of another, what really matters is the calorie total. At the end of the day, calories in, calories out, that is what dictates whether or not you're going to get shredded.
So I managed to get some over easy eggs in there. Perfect.
I know that speaking from experience, the lower my carb intake, the more times I have to go to the bathroom at night, as my glycogen stores aren't as full, they're depleted, and I end up getting up every 1 or 2 hours even to go to the bathroom. It's not uncommon for me to wake up 3 to 6 times during the night to pee when in contest prep mode. Currently, usually 2, sometimes 3 times a night do I go to the bathroom middle of the night. But what I do recommend to help you sleep throughout the night is my sleep aid, of which I just ran out and I'm waiting to get the next shipment. Can't wait to use it again. It certainly helps me have a more restful night of sleep.
I found there's like a threshold that when you start pushing really hard, like you get under a certain amount of carbs and you're doing a certain amount of cardio, that you just like don't care anymore.
And Chris is dieting so severely right now that he doesn't even care. He said if he actually ate more carbs, it'd probably make it worse because then he'd be craving more. Sometimes when you get a taste of something that you really like, in particular trigger foods, it makes you want to keep eating them. It's hard to have one bite. Case in point, the cereal. Imagine if he had a handful of actual Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It would be all you want to think about. You'd want it all the time. So rather than that, he has his own protein powder, his own flavor, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So I highly recommend you get a protein powder to replace some of the other foods that you're craving. This diet is not something that even Chris could follow year round. It's a very brief diet for 2 weeks to get him to the Olympia. After that, he's going to eat more, bulk up, gain some body fat. It's not healthy to try to get this lean, so I warn you, do not copy this diet. And if you feel like Chris does right now, eat more. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IFB Pro. Watch one of the bloops. Don't forget, harder than last time supplements. Click the link in the description. Also, cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team. Subscribe, click the bell button. Follow me on the gram and the talk. And until next time, I am out.